Did you meet Sir Clough Williams-Ellis?
Yes, I did. Funny old boy, used to go about in knickerbockers and socks and that. He was quite a character. He died soon after, but he was alive then and very much, oh yes, he was there all the time. Bit of a nuisance sometimes.
Do you remember any of the principal actors who were on location in Portmeirion?
You see, we used to have the leading artists, like the leading lady, had a different one for each episode, come up for a time and we do all that episode, and then they go back and someone else would come. They didn't come and stay the whole time, it wasn't necessary. We just got all the stuff we wanted on them and then did another one. So you can imagine when we got to the studio, I had a lot of scripts with different people in them and different episodes. But then we worked through. That was really up to the production, and they organised that quite well.
Do you remember working with Leo McKern?
He's a lovely actor, but he really lives, feels it. And I see him in things now, that lovely one of the Law Courts, and he's just the same. He puts, you know, and it was such a weird thing. I think it upset him really, and Pat getting a bit difficult too. No, I don't mean he was getting difficult with artists, he wasn't. He always respected other artists. Most artists do, you find. They're very rarely bitchy to each other. But when you know somebody's tense, the whole atmosphere goes through. Even towards the end we felt it, you know, it was difficult.
Do you think it was appropriate for a leading actor to become so involved with the writing and directing?
That was the trouble. He did too much, you see, and it got him. He felt the strain. One man cannot do it. When I see a thing, and they do it now, Paul Newman does it, but they can't really direct themselves. They have to put their stand in, work out the shots, and then put their stand in to put light, and doing some of the actors. Some of the stand-ins are very good, but it's not the same, and it takes longer. It's bound to take longer. I would never, if I were a producer, I wouldn't let an artist direct himself. Besides, you see, they don't see themselves as a director does, and he can see if they're going a bit over the top or it's not right, and he'll kind of very tactfully put it down. But they're always in love with their own part and they build it up and they don't realise they're going over the top sometimes. It's not a good thing to do, and it certainly wasn't there.
Were there ever any scenes which gave you continuity problems?
Well, I can't, the problem was, there again, you see, we didn't have a proper script. We started, and he used to come in the morning and give me pages he'd worked out at night, and we used to have to try, and then we were on the floor, and it was such a waste of time trying to sort them out, and things can go wrong so easily. But in this particular case, there was a time when they started wearing slings, I can't remember when, you know, even the script we knew. And then he suddenly said he wanted to switch. He was changing it round, and one scene he wanted to put in earlier, and started to work at a shooting, and I kind of was going through and working through my own script, and I suddenly realised he couldn't do it. I said, well, you've already shot that stuff with the slings, and we've scrapped the set now. You cannot do it, really. And he didn't like that at all, but he realised he couldn't. But well, that was just the thing. But you know, when you're working with anybody like that, it's so easy to make a mistake. We'd had to have reshot. Fortunately, I saw it on the day. Otherwise, you might have had to go back some days later, and it's very, very expensive to reshoot that now.
Do you remember filming The Schizoid Man?
Well, if they were in the same frame, you have to have a split frame. You shoot the one side with somebody feeding him the cues and that. I mean, so the timing is right, saying the lines. And then you shoot the other half. I think by that time we got the new thing through. It used to be a nightmare doing it because they did it on the same film, and you had to time everything and run it back.
Why did you leave the series?
I did so many and then they stopped, and you know, that was the end, and they said we're going to do the others later on. Well, I was offered another series almost immediately, and I went on it, and when they started doing the other 4, I wasn't free, I couldn't do it. But Phil, who did it, was a great friend of mine, and they were still being made at, must have been MGM. And I was working at MGM, but on something else, I can't remember what. And Phil and I used to meet for lunch every day, and she used to report the progress, or she'd come, or she'd ask me things.
Very odd.
They couldn't make up their mind what they were going to do to the end, and every time we had lunch, it was getting, I said, well, what are they doing? How's he getting out of it? And she said, okay, I don't know, I haven't got the script yet. It was a joke, our lunchtime sessions. And in the end, when she told me it was monkeys, I nearly fell off the chair. I said, monkeys, how are they doing that? And she said, well, I think they're so desperate they don't know what else to do. That was just a last minute thing.
Thank you, Doris, for giving the interview.